Welcome back to WaterparkRanger's Let's Play Kingdom Hearts. In the last episode, we finished the Fill Cup at the Olympus Coliseum, and then head over to the new world, Agrabah, after going through the Warp Hole. Agrabah is strangely devoid of people. And that's actually not going to change for the rest of the game, for the record. That's one of the things that kind of bothers me, is like, sure they capture like the areas like well enough in terms of how they appear like graphically, but you know, obviously there are limitations, especially given when this came out, but it would have been more convincing if they maybe gave them a little bit more life sometimes. I mean, like, the characters that do appear, the important ones, they're really well done. And I mean, when you see the genie, I mean, Dan Castellaneta does a great job with his voice in this game. But, you know, Agrabah, you know, being a city, in the movie it was always filled with random people like fire eaters or sword jugglers or merchants selling their stuff. I guess their explanation is that the Heartless scared them away. But that being said, you know, I feel like it would have been better if they put a few more NPCs. Because I think that literally, besides, like, the major characters that appear here, there's only one other NPC. He's like this merchant with like a blue sash and a white turban. And I think you can buy, like, really crappy items from him. Anyway, as you can see, Jafar is going to be the villain of this area. If that wasn't the most obvious thing ever, that's not even a spoiler. He's the one summoning the Heartless, sending them out with Smitars to go and, I guess, find the princess. And also, once again, the returning theme of, basically, just like with Clayton, the danger of using Heartless is that if you don't have a strong will, you won't be able to command them. Jafar, though, is pretty confident. But does he actually have the power it takes to command the Heartless? I guess we're going to find out, without being consumed by darkness himself. Anyway, this introduces a new enemy, a new type of Heartless. In Agrabah, we're going to come across just a couple more enemies that we haven't seen before. The battle level here is more advanced, obviously. These ones are just called bandits. I think they're a bit more dangerous than Power Wilds. They're agile and they can typically block more of your hits with their sword. One of the things that's going to be a common problem with this area is that there are going to be objects that you can interact with, like treasure chests or switches. But because the commands change depending on whether or not there are enemies around, you're going to have to clear enemies out of the way before you do important things like open up treasure chests or hit switches. Sometimes it's going to be very precarious when the objects that you need to obtain are on kind of high areas and you fall. Once again, it calls into question the early platforming of the game, which is a little bit shaky. But it shouldn't be all that much of a problem. Deep Jungle is really where the bad platforming's at. And Agrabah is really kind of like an average world for this game. Your first time through, it can actually take a good amount of time to do, though. And it'll probably run us a fair amount of episodes. Maybe not as many as Deep Jungle. I guess only time will tell. Anyhow, a couple tips about bandits, if I can think of extra things for them. They do have a charged sword attack. They stand in place and kind of drop their defense and their sword glows. That's a great time for you to kill them, because if you don't, that attack, especially on Expert, is going to deal drastic damage to you. Oh, some Dalmatians. Well, those were pretty much the easiest Dalmatians I've ever obtained. And I think this is actually a great item here. Mega Elixir! Yes! I knew there was something awesome in that box. Mega Elixirs, for the record, are basically, I can hardly think of a better item I could find. Anyway, Agrabah has these strange little keyholes that are hidden around. One was hidden up here. Now, I'm not certain whether or not you need to get this one to progress the story, but just to be on the safe side, I triggered it and then opened up the little keyhole thing behind it. This cupboard over here you have to move to free the flying carpet. And the flying carpet is necessary to progress the story. Carpet flew after the desert, but let's explore the city more. This city just proved to you! I can't do a Batman without my co-commentators! Whatever. Yeah, I've been told that my Batman's not Batman-y enough. I'm not sure, maybe I should stop doing the more recent Batman and revert to using one of the older Batmans. Or maybe one of the awesome Batmans that Frank Caliendo suggested, who I think was, who's he said who would voice act him really well? I forget his name at the moment. He had the sketch about a van down by the river. Foley? Was that the guy? Whatever. Actually, this doesn't matter at all, because we're dealing with important story elements right now. Like the fact that the princess was hiding behind those convenient boxes with stars on them that also appeared in our dream, I just realized. So apparently we dreamed up these particular boxes that the princess was hiding behind. It's clearly a prophecy. Oh god, Royal Vizier. Why is it always one of those Vizier thingies? Like, there's this movie which ripped off Aladdin, which came out roughly around the same time, called The Thief and the Cobbler. And in it, Jafar is the Vizier or whatever. And in The Prince of the Cobbler, so is the villain. He's also the Vizier, the evil Vizier.
Allow me to find you
I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, whatever. I'm pronouncing it as I see it. Just to clear up any confusion.
Jasmine, run!
Yeah, great advice. It's actually pretty horrible that those princesses have to wear those dresses, because it seems like all they're gonna do is run from enemies that they see, so they should at least be dressed to escape from any situation. That's what I would have done for them. Give them a change of wardrobe, which actually helped them out. It's actually reminding me of one of those lists. It was like, if I was a supervillain or something, I would give my minions clothing like helmets that didn't encumber their vision. That's all pretty smart stuff. See, this is what I mean. Shadows and stuff are always appearing as soon as you get near any treasure chest that you feel like opening. Also, you might have noticed that a couple of the pots around here randomly sprout legs and then try to kill us. That's a new kind of Heartless. Not our Heartless, for the record, have the same general appearance with the two yellow eyes. Some of them are a little bit more concealed. Pot spiders, I believe, actually have those eyes, but they're very difficult to see. You can examine a Heartless more closely in the Jiminy's Journal feature, but I don't really think I'm going to bother with that, I mean, because it has nothing to do with real gameplay. Basically, if you press start and then go to Jiminy's Journal, you can look through characters that you've met, view their character models, and get some information on them. That's a system that I'm pretty glad they have in this game. It's not really groundbreaking or anything, but it's a pleasant touch. It's a little bit of that polish that I feel like the game could have used more of. I know it sounds bad to say, like, all the criticism that I'm heaving on Kingdom Hearts, but Kingdom Hearts, to be sure, is a game that succeeds in spite of its many flaws. To quote IGN before IGN became crap and stopped letting people do reader reviews, because apparently they decided that reader reviews are actually better than the crap reviews that they make these days. So they didn't want to have readers putting their hard-at-work editors and reviewers out of business, so they got rid of reader reviews. I'm only mad at that because just when I had decided to start trolling them, they went and changed it. Once again, pot spiders blocking the treasure chest. Oh, what could be in here? Oh, a cottage. You know, I've got to start using these cottages and things. It's one of the great quandaries of RPGs. I always have this problem. I'll get a bunch of great healing items, and then I'll end up just using magic and being really stingy and never actually using those healing items. Except for of course, the elixirs and mega elixirs. Those are brilliant, and I don't know if it's safe to say that they're essential for the optional bosses, but they help out a great deal. You'll be very glad you had them. Unless, of course, you've leveled up insanely or something. Because typically, I try not to grind beyond what I just generally encounter in my base, like, progressing through the path in the game. That's my general rule for RPGs. Like, in Pokemon, I'll just fight trainers, and I actually don't go after the Pokemon in the wild grass. Unless I'm going to catch them, but I never try and kill them. Or, I should say, make them faint. As it is. Oh, we didn't actually go in here before. For the record, Agrabah isn't that large. It's just got, like, a couple rooms. And this is just one of those side rooms. There's this room, the higher up room that you can climb into, the room where you find Jasmine, the outer area I'm going to go into right now, the main courtyard, and then like 2 other kind of places nearby the palace gate. Okay, maybe that is a bit much, but since I've played through this game so much, like the first time I went through it, Agrabah seemed a lot larger than it actually is. Oh boy, the desert is vast, but if you free the magic carpet from, the flying carpet from that room like I showed you earlier, it'll appear out here in the desert. That's the only way for you to progress the story, so you need to first free the magic carpet, and then head out here. For the record, I'm not sure if you need to unlock that secret key switch in the same room with the magic carpet, but I did it just in case, because I think it's going to lead us to something eventually. It's going to lead to something eventually. Oh no, and that was Aladdin and Abu drowning in quicksand. What's really strange is that it doesn't matter, like, they're pretty much going to always drown until you defeat these Heartless. So the idea here is just to defeat all the bandits. On Expert, I had a very hard time with this battle. As you can see, they throw their swords at you, which makes them deadly over distances. They'll spin at you as well, and do little fancy swirling tricks. They're really just a huge pain. Even on this, they're giving me trouble. Even on easy, they're giving me some trouble. I think that's the difficulty, right? In this game, there's only like easy and expert. Or is there also normal? Wow, I forget. I'm forgetting the most essential basics of this game. That's great. That's great to know. We are not going to survive. This LP is not going to be finished because the game will get too hard for me because I forget essential basics. And with that, wait. Really? There's another one? Okay, fine. You die. Excellent.